Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today we are continuing our tournament arc by heading to Atlanta to take part in one of the biggest Beyblade X tournaments in North America so far. Over 90 people showed up to this event. They even had the voice actress for Vault from Beyblade Burst come out, which was super cool. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the footage and we'll sort of talk about how the tournament went.
Alright guys, so 2.5 hours later, we are here. We're like close to Atlanta. This is, I think, the biggest Beyblade X tournament in North America so far this year. They're doing Burst and X, and they're gonna have the voice actor for Vault here, which is pretty cool. So I brought something to get signed. But yeah, huge tournament. It's supposed to be like the Georgia State Championship, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, this place is way bigger than I thought. So, Kelly, the voice for Vault, is here. And what's up? So I got this signed. I don't know if you can see it up there, but yeah, so that was pretty cool.
So the Vault voice actress was super nice, very cool. She's worked on a ton of projects, including Pokemon. She did a Q&A at the event where we could ask questions. The only question that I asked was whether or not she had been familiar with Beyblade before she got the job. And turns out she did grow up watching Plastic Gen, although she wasn't familiar with Metal Fight, so I thought that was pretty cool. Like I said, there was a Burst tournament here as well, and originally I had decided to try to do a God Layer challenge as my big send-off for Beyblade Burst. And in my mind, I was like, okay, you know, if I do some spin steals, it'll probably be all right against some of the later stuff. I was very wrong, so what would have been the Burst video is going to be summed up in the next couple of minutes. So I wasn't planning to participate, but by chance I ended up winning a giveaway for some Beyblade Burst stuff that contained a bunch of God Layer stuff, which also happens to be some of my favorite Beyblade Burst stuff. The early gen Beyblade Burst releases are some of my favorites. That time period is what I'm the most nostalgic for Beyblade Burst. It's also what I enjoy the most. So I was like, I'll do a God Layer challenge. So Yuna ended up hosting this giveaway and I won. I only took the God Layer stuff, and the runner-up, I said send the rest of the stuff because I didn't really care about it. There is some God Layer stuff that I didn't have, so I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to try to make use of this stuff in a video, but it didn't work out that great.
3, 2, 1, go shoot!
Ready, set. 3, 2, 1, go. Both mine got caught for a second. 3, 2, 1, go. Shoot. Doesn't even matter how hard I launched it.
So yeah, the Burst challenge video ended up being a Burst 1 minute segment. So didn't go that well, but I did get this cool dual layer set signed, which is super cool. And I will miss Burst, believe it or not. I'm not a huge fan of Burst. I think it outstayed its welcome, but it is a chunk of the Beyblade history timeline that I will look back on fondly, especially early Burst. So let's go ahead and get on to X. So because of how many people we had, we ended up running 4 rounds for preliminaries in the Hasbro X Stadium to 4 points. There was also no restrictions on parts, so no point reductions for Wizard Rod or Cobalt or Ball or any of that. So this was my first time participating in an X tournament that was exclusively in the Hasbro Beyblade X Stadium, and I was using Wizard Rod in the first round on 570 Hexa, and get instantly KO'd by stock Rhino Horn. This is sort of one of those instances where, you know, when people say, oh, Beyblade has RNG, yeah, it does. You can't always predict everything. Unfortunately, sometimes things that shouldn't happen on paper just happen. Unfortunately for me, Rhino Horn just had my card. So second round, I burst as well. I was running Tyranno on 560 Dot. I was going for higher sort of defense stamina builds in the Hasbro Stadium, which I ended up changing for the second round onwards. Didn't end up working out that well for me. Dot, I think, would be good in the Takara Stadium to some degree, but in the Hasbro Stadium, it's just too hard to avoid your opponent, so unfortunately it didn't work out for me. But first round went really bad for me. That Rhino Horn, I was salty about that Rhino Horn.
So first match didn't do that well. I lost to stock Rhino, but I went and got my battle pass signed by the voice actress of Vault. So I'm hoping that gives me some plot armor, but we're gonna find out. I'm about to go up.
So like I said, it's only 4 rounds for preliminaries, and there's a ton of people. So if I want any chance of going to finals, I have to win all 3 of my next matches. So I completely took out Wizard Rod, and I changed my Tyranno Beat combo from dot to point, and the Beyblade I swapped into the Wizard Rod spot was Shark on 360 Rush. So going into the first round, I am using my Shark Edge combo, and anytime that I'm battling in these tournaments, I'm sort of keeping track in my head of how things are performing, and I make changes usually after the matches. So in this case, I've noticed that Shark, because of how much smaller the Hasbro Stadium is, and how recoily Shark is, it tends to tank a ton of damage in its recoil, especially hitting the walls. So second round, I go into Leon Claw, which does pretty good in the Hasbro Stadium. I feel like sort of higher stamina, aggro attack build. And then for my final pick, I go into Tyranno Beat on point. So I end up getting a KO with Tyranno Beat, which puts me up to 3 points. So I got 1 point for the spin finish with Leon Claw, 2 points for the KO with Tyranno, and now we are reshuffling our deck order because we're going to 4 points, and hopefully I can get the next round so I can take the match. So I end up leading off with Leon Claw here, and the matchup is against Scythe. So not a great matchup in general for Leon Claw. It definitely tries, but it misses the mark on a lot of the hits. Most of the hits end up towards the top of the stadium, which isn't super beneficial. Really, you want to get those hits on the backside so you can push it towards, you know, one of the pockets or the exits. So unfortunately, I do lose this round to a spin finish, which is 1 point. So not terrible, could definitely be worse. At least it's not a KO, but it does put me down a point. So going into the next round, I end up using Shark. So in this match, we're against a Phoenix Wing combo, and we do end up getting an extreme finish, which gives us the match. So we are now 1-1.
Alright, so I think the plot armor worked. Like, getting my battle pass signed by the voice actress apparently just gives you plot armor.
Just like
so.
photo bombs. Mason loves photo bombs.
Bro double.
Mason, Bandicario is terrible. The Zuma's the GOAT.
So going into the third matchup, again, we are 1-1. I make one alteration to my deck, and this is the last alteration I make for the tournament, and that is swapping out Shark for Phoenix on 360 Rush. Just because it's a little bit heavier and it's a little less recoily than Shark, so I feel like it's just a safer option. So first round was my Tyranno Beat against a Viper Tail combo, which Viper Tail is underrated, I think, in my opinion, but we do end up getting an extreme finish. Going into the second round, I am using Leon Claw versus a Night Shield combo, which Night Shield, again, is one of those that I think is still pretty good to this day. But Leon Claw struggles a little bit with this one because it's hard to get underneath the blade. But yeah, we end up dropping a point here, so we are 3-1 going into the next round. And so again, I have switched to Phoenix on 360 Rush, and we get a pretty explosive KO against Shark, which gives us the match. So we are now 2-1 in the tournament.
All right, so won my last match. I'm 2-1. Top 8 go to finals. So I don't know how many people got 4-0. I know there's at least 3 that are 3-0 right now. So I 100% need to win my next match if I have any chance of going to finals. We'll see what happens.
So going into my fourth match, which is the last match of preliminary rounds, I absolutely have to win this match in order to have any chance of going to the finals, and the opponent's deck is pretty stacked. They are using Wizard Rod, which makes me a bit nervous, so I lead off with Phoenix. I get hit with a pretty brutal counter attack and unfortunately get KO'd, so I am down 2 points.
Oh man, he's either gonna win or lose in this one.
So going into the second round, I'm using Leon Claw against Tyranno Beat, and you know, Leon Claw does its work. It does Leon Claw things, which is S tier things, of course. So going into the third round, I have 1 point to my opponent's 2, and I am using Tyranno Beat against their Phoenix Wing. And Tyranno Beat is pretty good against Phoenix. It's kind of tanky, kind of a good defense aggro combo, less aggressive, less recoily than Phoenix. Overall, I think it's a pretty good pick. And it ends up getting a spin finish for me here, so we end up tied 2-2, and we now have to reshuffle.
Score is tied, 2-2.
So after reshuffling, we go into our next match. I am using Phoenix against their Wizard Rod, which makes me pretty nervous. I really can't afford to lose any more points, and I absolutely have to win this round.
Come on, man, you're using my Phoenix. Let's game! That was cool! Oh my god.
So my final score is 3-1 after preliminary round, so now I have to wait for them to figure out whether or not I've made it to finals. Unfortunately, because of how many people showed up, there was so many people that ended with a score of 3-1 that we had to do a sudden death match tiebreaker between all of the participants to see who would get the final couple of slots of finals. So this was it, sudden death. Could I make it past this sudden death match to hopefully secure my place in the finals? I lead off with Phoenix Wing, and they are using Cobalt Dragoon, which this is the first time I've matched up against Dragoon in this tournament. A few people used it, a lot of people were practicing with it, but overall, in general, I don't think it was performing particularly well. So we end up getting 2 points. Going into our next round, we're using our Tyranno Beat combo. And this ends up being a Tyranno Beat mirror match, and unfortunately, I end up immediately getting KO'd. So we are now 2-2, tied up going into the third round. So tied up going into the third round, it all comes down to Leon Claw, which is the whole purpose of these tournament arcs, is to try to get Leon Claw to win a tournament. I back tilt hoping to hit an early extreme finish, but unfortunately it doesn't catch until way later in the match, and just in slow motion hops out of the extreme zone.
Leon betrayed me, guys. That last round, like I feel like it was so far into the match and it still hopped out. That was so brutal. And a single elimination because so many people like had winning records or whatever. Like I was 3-1 into single elimination bracket and I lost, so ended up at 3-2.
With the tie and the vest, Shukur and I won the Georgia Championship. Yeah. We got a golden ultimate Valkyrie.
What the?
Wait, is that?
Wait, how was that?
Thank y'all for watching.
What?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Holy crap. So it's like almost 7 o'clock p.m. So finally done. Ended up with a final score of 3-2, which like isn't bad. It's still a positive score. The final elimination round was pretty rough, but it was a good tournament. A ton of people. I think that's the biggest WBO event that has happened so far, in terms of like numbers wise, at least for the WBO. So that's pretty cool. The fact that, you know, we got to meet the voice actress for Vault, that was cool. Got her to sign some stuff, meet a lot of people. A lot of people came up to me that watch the channel, which is super cool. Always hyped to, like, you know, talk to people that watch the channel and like figure out why they watch the channel or what they like about it or whatever. So it was super hyped. But now I have a 2.5 hour drive home, and I've slept like 4 hours. So yeah, I'm gonna go home.
So overall, it was a great time. I had these stickers made to give out to people. The one on the left I just gave out, and the one on the right, the glitter foil, was only given out to people who beat me. So it was pretty fun. These were made by Only a Hobby. If you guys need some stickers, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The whole tournament was a lot of fun. It was really long. I'm looking forward to the next one where hopefully I can get Leon Claw to first place. But if you enjoyed the video, please drop a comment, hit the like for the algorithm, subscribe if you haven't already for future Beyblade content, and I will see you all in the next one.